Hey, you made it. So did I, but somebody didn't. Taylor's not here today. Something came up at the last minute. In case you didn't know, Taylor is in my Discord group, but she is more of a volunteer here. She just comes in when she can. She's married. She's got things to do, and she had something come up today. She's okay, but something urgent came up that needed her attention. So you got me, as you do most of the time, all the time. So we have got a show lined up for you because of my regular viewers. We have got a front row here of people I see on a regular basis. Thank you, folks. I do appreciate you. Mark Ryan, I appreciate the fact that you never miss my shows. That helps me a lot. Of course, we have got Kashera here. Hello, Kashera. Good to see you too. Who else? The underdog, T-Rick. You don't come often. I like seeing you here, buddy. Chris Arndt. Hello, Chris. You came just at the right time. Most of those names I just mentioned showed up early. They threw their tickers in the queue early, so I have got them all queued up. I've done some preliminary due diligence on them. Now, I've got them set up, as you probably know, with highlights, so I know where to go to read to share the information with you. Well, because Taylor's not here, I got to do the charting too. So when she was doing the charting, it always gave me a chance to make sure my highlights were still there. Sometimes they just disappear multiple times a day. Well, you guys gave me these early, and I only highlighted them once today. So hopefully all that information is still there. So we have got 5 queued up. We can normally get through about 7, maybe 8 in an hour and a half. We've been pushing this show a little bit longer here recently. And I'll try to do my best being a one-man show. We do miss Taylor, but I can row the boat. No problem. All right, we've got this all set up. All I need you to do is close your eyes here for a second. How's that for you? All right, I gave you fair warning. All right, I have got 2 computers here so I can bobble back and forth. I can make sure that you see what I see. Hopefully you can hear me. If somebody wants to leave a comment down there just so I can verify you can hear me. Let's see here. First one we're going to take a look at comes from Mark Ryan. Mark, you asked for 2. I'm actually going to look at 2 because the second one, there's really not a lot to talk about, but we're going to look at it nonetheless. First one we're going to take a look at is ticker SWISF, Secure Private Data. Finished the day little over 5 cents, 5.2, and they were up about 2% today. They're on the middle tier of the OTC. This is the better tier. You got 3 tiers on the OTC, the bottom one being the pink with no validated information down there. That's the problem. They're risky because we don't know what's going on. This is the middle tier. It's the better tier, better than the pinks, because you get your financials audited here. They have to have a CPA go through them and do some accounting. You thought the pinks were accounted for? No, those are just numbers they give us. These are actually accounted, so we've got fundamentals. We can weigh the company up now. And you got to be at least a penny to be on the QB, which means if you go under a penny on the QB for too long, you can be thrown back down to the pink. Something to know. We've got all the green ticks over here you could hope for, and even a bonus. The verified information is the verified profile and the verified transfer agent. We like to see that on any OTC stock. Not a deal breaker if we don't see it, but it is validated information. They've got independent directors listed here, which tells us they have serious aspirations of uplisting. And the bonus I was talking about is that they're penny stock exempt. Even though they're only 5 cents and selling on the OTC market, it is not a penny stock. I mean, it is, but not legally, not legitimately. And the reason for that is they've proven themselves to be responsible. They're not a startup company with all that risk sitting on their head. And how did they do that? They had to have millions of dollars in assets or revenues over the last 3 or 5 years and have kept up with their financials during all of that time. This company's proven that they're doing what they're supposed to do. That makes them trustworthy. All this makes them trustworthy. So it looks real good. So this is a company out of the United States, New York, but they seem to be operating out of Switzerland. You know, the banking laws over in Switzerland, they've got all those privacy laws over there, which is why everybody likes to put their money over in Switzerland, because they can't say whose money that is. There are actually laws against it. And you know, over here, every time you go to a website, they got a cookie thing that pops up. We are gathering your information. Do you agree to do this? And you got to press yes if you want to continue on. Well, Switzerland's got their own privacy laws, and they're a lot better than ours. And that's what this company is all about. Cybersecurity around Swiss laws. So instead of reading this description here, I've got one over here. They cover a lot of different things. The company is a leading Swiss hosted, secure, and private communications platform that outlines the needs for greater online data privacy in the era of artificial intelligence. And that's their big push right now. And that's what we all need to be concerned with. AI, quantum computing, they can break all the encryptions we have out there. All the stuff that people and our silly computers can't break, they can break. So we've got to find ways to protect ourselves from bad guys who have AI and quantum computers. Big technology companies are accumulating huge amounts of personal data these days, often without users' informed consent or knowledge, to train their large language models. They have to get exposure. They're just sucking up all the information they can get. And it's not like they're actually spying on you, but they're going to suck up some of your private information nonetheless. Alexis did that. When they put Alexis into training, they turned her on and she listened to everything all the time. And she heard things she wasn't supposed to hear. But she wasn't reporting that information anywhere. She was just using it to learn how people talk. And that's what they claim they're doing. Large AI models collecting user data can expose individuals to several online privacy risks. Firstly, the harvesting process might unintentionally capture sensitive information like names, locations, or opinions. Now, they do this in a lot of different ways. They work with email, secure VPN, Messenger, and other privacy solutions. And right there, it tells us under Swiss federal law, it is a crime to publish information based on leaked, secret official discussions. In 2010, the Federal Supreme Court of Switzerland found that an IP address is personal information. And under Swiss privacy laws, they may not be used to track internet usage without the knowledge of the individual involved. Your IP address is private. And it's supposed to be like your social security number. But over here, these numbers get out there and they are everywhere. So that's what the company is all about. I was jumping around getting information, and I found over in the filing section lots of these F1s. It is the same F1 being pushed and pushed and pushed until they get it completed. Well, this is what that F1 is about. They are working to put out 1 million units. A unit is a package deal. When you buy it, you get one share and you get a warrant. And the warrant allows you to buy a share sometime in the next 3 to 5 years at a discounted price. So even though the share is only a penny right now, if it goes up to $10, you might be able to buy it at $1 when it hits $10. Your choice. But that's not really why I stopped here. I was just trying to see what was up here. And just to let you know, it is not done yet. They're still working on this. Month after month, they just keep trying to get this done. But I saw this piece of information in here, which isn't anywhere else. They tell us here that they want to sell these, and they're talking about the price these units are going to be, which takes into account an assumed 1-for-40 reverse stock split of our outstanding common shares. Assumed. That doesn't mean it's already happened. That presumes it's going to happen. And I can't read anywhere else where they talk about doing a reverse split, except right here, a 1-in-40 reverse split. Now, what would that handle? Let's go back. Since we're talking that reverse split, let's take a look at the shares. Share count for this company. Oh, man. Outstanding share count is about 120 million. So if they did a 1-in-40, that means you'd have a 3 million outstanding share count when they were all done. Right now, I don't know, says they got 109 million in the float. It's going to be a low float. I don't know what the float will be at that point. You could figure it out percentage-wise, but it's going to be a very low float if they go through with it. Currently, the market cap is $6 million. What was the relative volume around the company today? Oh, God, what happened there? She dropped like she's 1/6 of what she normally does. She's been doing 36,000 shares a day. She is on the OTC. We don't get a lot of volume down here unless you're hot. Today, she only did 6,000 shares, which darn sure isn't hot. That's cooling down. I had one more thing here, news. So what do we have here? They talked about those products as we were just looking. That came out of this piece of news right here, the most current piece of news. So I was looking back here for deals. I see they've been on a lot of podcasts and episodes of The Street Announces. But what I see here is they're launching all of these products right now. So when we look at their financials, it's understandable then. They're just getting going. Now, AI is just a new hot sector that they're fighting against. So maybe they're going to get a lot more attention now than they've been getting. At the end of 2022, they had $342,000. We got to add 3 zeros behind any of the numbers here. And look at this. The business they're in doesn't cost them anything. There's no packaging materials or shipping. There's no manufacturing materials to buy. There's all digital products. There's no overhead. So they get to keep every single dollar. Looking at their quarterlies, the last 3 quarters looks like they haven't got any new customers. That's what it looks like to me. They're getting the same exact amount virtually every single month. And they are pulling in profit steady along the way. They just don't seem to have any growth going on right now. So hopefully this AI fight will help them. Total money in the bank looks like about 1.2 million. Total assets 3.6. No liabilities hardly because they don't have anything outside of digital products. So we've got 3.5 million in stockholder equity with this company. So we are holding some equity. And I do believe that covers everything for this company. I was going to ask Taylor to go look at that chart, but she ain't here. So, right, it's working. All right, we're over here at my trading platform. I happen to use Thinkorswim. I don't know where you get it now. I got it from TD Ameritrade, but they did a merger 2 years ago and just completed the merger here at the beginning of this year. So now I'm with Schwab. Do you get it from Schwab if you sign up with Schwab? I don't know. So I've got this opened up to the wrong ticker. Let me get the right ticker up there. SWISF. Yes, we got it right. Obviously, I've looked at this before. Got some old lines up there from a long time ago. Let me get rid of those guys. So what we've got over here is a 4-hour chart. I like to keep a 4-hour chart opened up. So when I come down to my 5-minute or 15-minute, if I have supports and resistances, my S&R is drawn up. This gives me a perspective of where they're going because I just see lines here. I have no idea where they started. So this just gives me extra perspective at a glance. So we are looking at SWISF. This is secure private data. That's a 4-hour, 6-month chart. So we've got a high of 15.5 cents. That was back at the end of September last year when she was well over the top of this 200. Kind of looks like an M up there. It's a pretty sloppy one. And at the bottom of an M, you normally get a big fall away. Well, we got a big fall away, so I guess that M counted. She came under the 200, falling from that 15 cents all the way down here to 4.5 cents. Wow, that's like 75% drop. She bounced back up, went sideways for a while, and then she started to dribble. Now, what really catches my attention here is where she's sitting, folks. That purple line there is the 200 haul. Most of you don't have the 200 haul on your charts. You've got the 200-day SMA. A lot like this. The 200-day SMA and the 200 haul both take 200 days of prices, average them all together, but the 200 haul puts more credence on current prices. And penny stocks, well, I used to say penny stocks. I trade options, so I watch the SPY. The stocks are paying heed to the 200 haul. It is another long-term line on the charts that is respected because it holds a lot of data. And look at this. It is just laying right on top of that 200 haul. Now, if you didn't have the 200 haul on your chart, that just looks like it's laying in midair. And you're going, what's holding it there? Why isn't it coming up? It's sitting on something, definitely. Now, right now, it looks like she's trying to actually break out. We've had this happen before, but she was a long ways from the 200. Though the 200 seemed pretty flat there, I would have thought she would have run. She is breaking out. She's on top of the 50-day SMA, but not with any extra volume to push her or anything. She's just looking like she's heading that way. And the oscillators say it is. We've got a crossover on our PPO, percentage price oscillator. That's just like your MACD, except it uses a percentage of the price. MACD uses the whole price. MACD, let me see if I got this picked out right. I do. I can zoom in on that just a wee bit. We've already had our crossover there, and it has crossed the signal line, the floor of our MACD, and we got big green bars accumulating. That means there's lots of up pressure building up right now, and our RSI is climbing. So she's looking pretty good on the 4-hour chart. Not super hot, but she doesn't look weak by any means. 1-hour chart, well, that's pretty much a sideways plane there, and she's bouncing between, roughly 4 cents and 5 cents. Bing, 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 just a penny here. And right now she's trying to get on top of that 200. We can see she was banging her head against it, but it looks like she just ran into it. Doesn't look like she went out of her way to run to it. It just ran to her. And now, since the 200 is still falling, we haven't changed. We haven't gotten any higher. We're not really breaking out. The 200 is breaking down. So we are getting across the 200 without any effort right now. And all of our SMAs are now starting to turn. We could see some free energy come from this. We could see a nice push. Oscillators are looking pretty good. Got a crossover again on our PPO and our MACD. Lots of green bars. And our RSI is right at the break point of 55. I mean, that's just where I'm comfortable, 55. 5-day, 5-minute. Come on, that's just sideways. You can see that line going straight across there. She took a big roll around and she's coming right back up. Our 20-day is crossing our 50. We want to get the smallest one on the top and the biggest on the bottom. 20 needs to be between the 9 and the 50. It doesn't look like we have a 200-day here. So 50-day is Papa on this board. Oscillators here, same thing going on. We've just had a crossover on both, including the MACD, and we've got big green bars, and our RSI is at 55. This is actually looking like she is setting up, like she is right at that cusp of a bowl before it starts turning up the other way in all phases, on our 4-hour, our 1-hour, and our 5-minute chart. And all of the oscillators show she is just now coming into strength. They had crossovers on every single one. So it isn't looking bad. It looks like it's worth putting on your watch list. Her revenues, maybe she's going to have a pop with this new eye battle. That's the one thing I can see going on for her right now. All right, let's take a look at the next ticker we've got here. Close this one up. This also comes from Mark Ryan. He sneaked it in there and I gave it to him. Normally I only take one because we have so many, but this doesn't have a lot of information. This is ticker EEENF. 88 Energy Ltd. Finished the day just under 004. She was up almost 2% today. She's on the bottom tier of the OTC, the pink, where you get no validated information. This is the risky tier. This is the tier I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on. I was ignorant. I came in just trading, folks. I learned from nothing, and I paid for my education. I always warn you about pinks. I'm not talking bad about the companies. I'm just saying you have a lack of information. Without information, it's tough to make wise decisions. So take all the information you get with a grain of salt until you see a filing. A filing is legal documents. That I believe. We've got no validated information over here. We don't have a verified profile or a transfer agent. But we do have independent directors listed, which means they are serious about uplisting. How about that? So this is a company from Australia, and they seem to be dealing in the oil industry. 88 Energy is an Alaska-focused oil exploration appraisal company across 440,000 net acres on the Alaskan Central North Slope and NPR-A regions, with a diversified portfolio of 4 highly prospective project areas. So this is an Australian company selling their stock in America, working up in Alaska with oil. Now, here's where the problem comes in. There's no bloody information. We jump over here to the disclosures. Let's just start there. We got no disclosures. Look at our filings. That's the situation. That is actually a red flag to me. That is 2022. Where's any of 2023's? Where's the annuals, the quarterlies? We're missing at least 6 financial reports here. And yet, I don't see anything over here. I see no warning. I see no danger, Will Robinson. But I don't see any filings. Now, I haven't done a deep dive, but normally filings are always here. I don't expect to find filings somewhere else because they weren't showing up here. So that does worry me. We don't have any financials here, so I can't give you a whole lot of information. Speaking of those financials, what do they show us over here? We got nothing on the annuals, nothing on the quarterly. Balance sheet, well, they got money in the bank, so they're able to pay themselves, $7.1 million. Total assets, lots of assets, $85 million. Liabilities, virtually nil compared to the assets, $3.6 million. So for a company that has no financials, has no revenues, we have $82 million worth of stockholder equity here. But before you get too excited, let's take a look at those shares. We have more than a ton of shares here, folks. That is 15, closer to 16 billion shares that are out there. Now, I don't know how many are in the float, but in May of 2022, virtually all of them. No, all of them. That's the exact same number. I don't see anything here. Now, my point, if you wanted to figure out a steady value here, we were just looking, we saw $87 million of stockholder equity. Woohoo! That's a lot. Well, divide that by all the shares. 87 million divided by 15 billion. I did the math. It's not too bad. Would you believe it's a little higher than this? It actually comes out to 0.005. So looking at it from an equity point of view, no revenues or anything, this stock is worth a little bit more than it shows on the board. That's pretty decent. But that's all I got. We had no disclosures. We have no news since 2022. We have no financials since 2022. There's just nothing here. But I did jump over here to Google just to see if there's anything out there. Well, I've looked at the news, and my trick here is to always sort the news. First, I bring up news and I sort it by date so I can see things as they are happening. Well, right now they've got something happening. 88 Energy posed for Alaskan flow test. Company moves closer to start of their pivotal well testing in Alaska. So that's what's going on right now. That's what all the news is about, is this flow test going on. So if there's any excitement going on, it's because people are getting off of the OTC market and actually getting out there to Google or reading their Western Australian publication and getting this information. But outside of that, there is nothing else here we can really look at except what sort of attention was she getting? She was getting more attention. She jumped from 9 million shares, which isn't bad considering that she's kind of, off the scope. She hasn't got anything really happening here, and she's doing 9 million shares. And today she did almost 13 million shares. So let's go take a look at ticker EENF. EEENF. That's why I copied it, because I knew I was going to forget to type one of those E's. Don't be tricky with me. Bear with me, folks. Having technical issues. EEENF. Ta-da! Let's roll the clock back 4 hours, 6 months. All right, so there is our chart, and we are in the midst of an atypical breakout, folks. What I call an atypical breakout is a chart I am constantly looking for. I look for charts that have heat by coming over here to the charts. I bring up a scan and I just start tagging every single chart and just looking at it. I don't care what company it is. I don't care the price or the volume. I'm only looking at the chart. And my number one look for is for the price to be underneath the 200 with both of them coming downhill, and then for them to start leveling off. At that point, the price starts to turn and cut through the 200. That's what we got. Ding, 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 ding. We like to catch it before it does this. But what normally happens is you get a rip and then a dip. First breakthrough is normally not the ultimate run, but it's a good run, right? She jumped here from, let's call it 0032 up to 005. So you're looking at, I don't know, maybe 40% run there. Don't quote my math. But she came back down and she fell right on top of the 200. Bing, 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 lots of times, over and over. This is showing security. She's making sure it's strong before she builds on it because she plans on moving up. Now that she's bounced on it 10 times, here she goes. She's starting to pull away. Look at all of our SMAs. They are all crossing the 200. They are getting in the right position. That gives extra strength to the price. Why? No magic. It's because me and you are watching those. There are so many people watching the 9-day, the 50, the 20, and the 200. That's why we primarily use them, because everybody uses them. And when everybody sees those crosses, they all feel that same giddy rush that I'm feeling right now. So we start to bid. We start to get into the game. This is looking ready to play. Volume, you can see that's been growing. It has been getting stronger and stronger. Our oscillators aren't looking bad. Our PPO is just now starting to turn back up, but it was only leveling out. Our MACD did take a big drop. Right now, she is setting up for a crossover, and our RSI is starting to climb. Looking at our 1 hour, 20 day, we got a casual uptrend right there. She was laying flat on the 200. Well, she was laying flat on every single SMA. Had that big, strong push. I don't know what got that going. Came back down, and now she is hovering over top of the 200. Now, when you see a hover, normally on one of the other time charts, there's an SMA. Find that SMA. If you see it floating, it isn't floating. Prices don't float. They bounce. They lay on. So that's what we look for. But if she is floating, it's because she's getting ready to climb. This right here, that one bar right there, that peg leg that came down, tagged the 200, pushing, and then we got all the way through it. And that's what I'm looking for. When I see a big red bar push through a strong SMA, you don't get any stronger than the 200, and then come right back up to where she started. To me, that is putting in a foundation, a pillar to support your bridge, because you're going to start lifting it up. So I would be watching for this to start slowly turning around, which is the way it looks to me. Our SMAs, our 9 and our 20, are just now starting to cross the 50, and things are starting to push up. Our 200 is already going the right direction. Oscillators, every single one of them is pointing in the right direction, with numerous crossovers right now. Looking good. 5 day, 5 minute. Well, that's pretty much sideways, isn't it? But it's like that last chart we looked at. She may be going sideways. There's no doubt about that. But in that movement, she got on top of the 200. The 200 just spliced and sliced right through the price. Ooh, that was nice. Oh, ho, ho, ho. I'm too good for my own shoes. So it's starting to break out right now, folks. All of our SMAs are turning up. Bars are getting bigger. We're getting higher lows all the way across. And our oscillators, do I have to say it again? They're all pushing up and going to the moon. It looks picture perfect, folks. I don't see a lot of catalysts. They are doing the flow test, and maybe that's all it takes in the oil world. I'm not an oil trader. I don't know. But the chart looks good. They do have a catalyst. It doesn't take a big catalyst to get a warm or hot chart moving. So we've got that. And we've got ourselves equity. It's not much, but the stock is actually worth 0.005, not just 0.039. That's my opinion. All right, enough there. Let's move on to the next stock we got here. Who brought this one in? This is, let me get the right picture for you here. Yes, VTBX. No, that was my answer. Sorry. Working with two computers here, folks. Where did VTBX go? Well, I know somebody gave this to me. Was it you, Kashera? Where are you at? Happy Thursday. There it is. It is Kashera. I kind of thought it was. I have looked at this before, but I didn't remember a lot about it. This is VTXB. I'm going over here making sure. Right. Okay. VTXB, Vortex Brands. This is a 000 stock, 0008. I normally don't look at these stocks unless they are over 0005 because they don't move fast enough. And as a day trader, that's what I need, movement. So if you're going sideways for months, I'm probably not looking at you. But when you get over 0005, you get a catalyst, you can start to move. And everything is trying to get to that 001. Like we're always thinking, will it hit a penny? Will it hit a penny? Well, the goal at 000 is to get the 00. And when you get the 00, a lot of excitement comes in and you can get some good runs there. And when you buy at 001, all you got to do is wait for it to hit 002, and they got 100% gains just like that. And you got to remember, there's no more digits. That 8 is the last digit. So if you're going for a 002, this only has to go around once and you're there. So it is the smallest movement on the charts outside of the triples. She is on the pink tier as well, but she's got her validated information. We got our verified profile and transfer agent over here. Just so you know, this is validated by the OTC markets, an unbiased third party. That is part of their responsibilities. This is their job. This is their corporation. The OTC markets is on the OTC. You can invest in this company and buy their stock if you want to. And this is what they do. So what is this company all about? They tell us here that Vortex Brands is actively mining Bitcoin by purchasing and maintaining application-specific integrated circuitry, the right computers. And that's really all the information I could get when I was looking at this company. I was trying to figure out, one, how many computers they had, how many machines. I wasn't able to put my finger on that piece of information. They tell us back in May of last year that the company launched AI bot for Bitcoin trading and mining. I haven't heard of that. I've heard of AI in a lot of things, but I haven't heard of it in Bitcoin mining. And this is all the way back in May of last year. Then again, they mentioned it in May, AI-based bot for Bitcoin trading. But again, I haven't heard anything more about it. Then they tell us they increased their cash dividend. I didn't know they had a dividend. The price of the stock is 0008, and they literally have a dividend. We are not kidding here, folks. And they just lifted it by 33%. Woohoo! The dividend is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 zeros and a 4. I did the math. Of course, I did the math. That comes out to 4 cents for every 10,000 shares you own. So you do get a dividend in this company. I know it's not much, but they're showing you that they care. They didn't have to give that to you. So we've got a dividend in the company. The other two things, as I said, is that they are buying machines. That's what they said they do. They mine Bitcoin by acquiring the machines. And they increase their machines by 35%, and then they increase their hash power by 20%. And from what I gather, I am not a Bitcoin miner expert. When you increase your hash power, you are adding more equipment. So they are getting bigger and bigger, but I haven't found a whole lot of other information outside of that. Let's take a look at their disclosures. See if there was anything over there. What are these? A1Ws. Request to withdraw offering statement. Oh, well, that's kind of neat. Now, you'd think I know them all. I don't. There's a lot of them. Looks like A1 Pause. Yeah, A1 Pause. Looks like they were thinking of putting some shares on the market somewhere back here. A lot of crazy filings you normally don't see. But the final one says they want to withdraw it. So whatever it was they were going to do, they're not going to do anymore. We looked at the news. What's the relative volume for the company? We got a nice jump there. That is basically double, going from 85 million shares to 171 million shares today. Hot diggity dog for that. Our share structure. A lot of shares. We got 2.6 billion shares. The good news is that the insiders own just shy of 1 billion shares, 861. I like to see that. We get 1.8 billion of those. And of course, your fear with high float is a reverse split. But normally nobody does a reverse split down here in the triple zeros. So I wouldn't be worried about no split right now. The other thing is too, these restricted shares, they go through the split as well. That's right. The insider stock gets split just as well. These are normal shares. These aren't any preferred stock. These are just the regular shares. So we go through it. They go through it. They don't want to go through it either, not until we're in the right position. So was there anything else I had here that I didn't hit? Financials. Righto. Who said that? I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Looks like the end of their fiscal year is in February. February of last year, 2022, they did $55,000. Got to keep $38,000 in profit. Dropped at the end of their fiscal year for 2023 to 41. Got to keep $7,000. Ouch. What about their quarterlies? They're not doing a whole lot here. $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 a quarter. And they didn't get to keep a red cent out of that last quarter. Ow. What's that balance sheet look like? Well, they got no money in the bank, so nobody's getting a paycheck. Well, where are they going to get the money to pay people? Total assets. Wow, that's low too. $386,000. Total liabilities is double those meager assets. So we are holding some stockholder deficit here, $285,000. So that's really all I can tell you. I couldn't find anything about Bitcoins. Normally, when I come to these Bitcoin mining companies, they got a piece of news, comes out every month. We've done this many coins. We've sold this many coins. We've added this many pieces of equipment. Not these people. There is nothing here that talks about how many coins they've got, how much money that they're pulling in, anything like that. So that's really all I can share with you on information. Outside of the chart, VTXB. What time is it? Let's see what we got over here. Where's my watch? There it is, 4:36, doing pretty good. All right, roll the clock back. There we go, 6 months, 4 hours. See, I've got a SNR here, support and resistance. I don't know what this is hooked to, and I'm always curious. So I'm going back a year. Got to go back further than a year. Shows you how long ago I looked at this. 3 years ago. All right, so I looked at this way back June of 2022. And when I looked at it, I drew this line as a support. Everything was sitting on top of this for a very long time. Then it fell under it, and now it has become a strong resistance. Let's see. Our high 3 years ago was 6 cents, and I don't see any reverse splits here. It doesn't mean there wasn't one, but pretty close. Probably haven't had one. I'm only saying that because if we had a reverse split, there's a chance this may not be the true high price. When they adjust the charts, it changes everything in the past. Coming on down to the 4 hour, 6 month. All right. About 6 months ago, we were at a low of 0002. We did have a nice pop here off of 0003 at the end of December. She went from there to 0013. Just think of that as 3 to 13. Get rid of all those zeros. So you're looking at over 400% run right there. And that was a quick rip. That looks like it might have been 3 days, 4 days at the most. Then she came back down, fell right to this 200-day SMA. But because we are on the triple zeros, there's not any middle ground between 0005 and 0004. So it's very easy to fall underneath the 200. She's popped back up onto that 200. We've got our pillar right there. She came down. She put it through all the SMAs down deep into the dirt. Most people see this as scary. I'm telling you, folks, I look at a lot of charts. I've got to look at I swear to God, 1,000 charts a day over and over again. This came down into the dirt, steadying everything so that she could start to climb. And that's exactly what happened off of this. She started to push. Now, remember, we're on a 4 hour chart. So if you're only using 5 minute, 1 minute charts, you really got to get into the habit of looking at your 15, 30, 1 hour, because they will respect a particular SMA. And that's the SMA. You got to watch it dipping under that SMA. That becomes your support. So right now she's looking really good, right? She got up on top of her 200 haul. Here's our 200-day SMA. She fought the 200 haul, came down, and she's been beating up on that, trying to get up and over it. And she is now pushing away, and all of our SMAs are pushing away from the 200-day SMA. All of our oscillators are going to the moon right now. Everything is looking good. Our volume is regular and steady. We could use more. You can always use more volume. Let's take a look at our 20-day 1 hour view. That's not looking bad. So we've got an uptrend here with a pop in the middle going from that 0003 up to 0009. That's a 300% run. Came down to our 200-day SMA, bounced off it, and launched. And the launch looks successful, folks. All of our SMAs are in the right place, 9, 20, 50, 200. And our oscillators are all pushing up. The MACD is showing a wee bit of coolness just because of that one bar right there, which came in at the end of the day. Look at that stair step, folks. She's working her way out of the triple zips. And that's what you see. Normally you get barcodes because they just bounce between one number and another for a long period of time. This is walking out, stairway to heaven. She has worked her way up from 0005 to 0009, and right now we're at 0008. All of our SMAs are looking righteous. Oscillators, they've taken a dip, but they look like they're in recovery. Yes, they do. They look like they're in recovery. VTXB, the chart has some heat. The chart is starting to grow. She's coming to that 001. This price right here, 0009, is like better than best. 001 is my best buy price. But come on, 0009 is cheaper than 001. But when you're looking at a stock that's iffy, you don't want to buy everything at once. You know, if you're going to be holding it for even a short swing, you got to give room for a dip. So you buy 25%, 30% of what you want. Know how much you want. Just don't say, how much money have I got? Throw it all at it. Buy what you want so that you can make a plan. Buy 25%. Then if it dips, you don't freak out because the only direction you wanted it to go was up. Now when it dips, you can go, yes, it's on sale. I can buy more. I wanted more anyways. Now I get it cheaper, and you lower your price. And if you've done your due diligence, if you are pretty confident the stock is going to climb, then you're only averaging down for the inevitable climb. And what a lot of people do is they average down and they save that last 25% until she breaks out, until she starts to run, which is normally over the price of the first time you bought. Yes, you're hearing me right. The last purchase is normally more than your first purchase. But because you've averaged down, it all averages out. But it's your last buy before the launch. It's like fill your basket because they're taking it away. You ain't getting any more. Go. So a lot of people like to play it that way. And she is looking good right now, folks. She's looking like she's ready to run. Okay, where are we at? 442. Oh, that was a nice car. Let's come on over here and take a look at the next ticker, AEPT. All right. I like to look over here at your comments because a couple of you are giving me a heads up like this one. Get it in there. Where are we at? There you go. Could you look at AEPT? I'm hearing they might have to do a reverse split. Could you confirm or debunk? Very good question. All right. This is what I found for AEPT. This is American Energy Partners. Finished today just a little over 2.5 cents, and she was up 25% today. Another pink. She is current. She's got her validated information, and it looks like she wants to uplist as well. They tell us here that American Energy is an American conglomerate holding company, meaning they've got a lot of subsidiaries, a lot of different companies. So let's see what information I did pull up on these people. All right, American Environmental provides mission-critical environmental solutions to the energy and infrastructure sectors, primarily in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, and New York. Our services include remediation and processing solutions for infrastructure and industrial companies. We'd probably have to do a little more research to actually know what it is they do. But I did find some interesting information here. Okay. This piece of news came out December 26th. American Environmental Partners signs definitive agreement for a reverse merger with NASDAQ-listed SC Works Corporation. This is SC Works. They're on the market. They're on the NASDAQ. Currently $1.69. This company is not into remediation or solution for infrastructure. No, this company is into healthcare information technology solutions. So this is completely different unless I don't know the right information, not that one, about this company. Maybe jumping over to the website real quick, environmental services, identifying infrastructure is okay. So you've got one working primarily with, it looks like green energy, and then you've got the reverse merger company that is working with health solutions. So when I was looking at this, I was thinking, as you were talking about, the split. When I didn't know that this company was on the NASDAQ and this one is down here, it was like, well, of course, if they're going to go to the NASDAQ, as they said right here, they're going to have to do a reverse split to get there. That price ain't going to cut it. But I've got to presume And they do say it here that once this is done, the ticker AEPT will be trading on the NASDAQ, which I've got to presume means that Works is going to disappear. This is going to change to AEPT, and they're going to now sit here in this spot on the NASDAQ. Outside of that, I wasn't able to find anything that looked suspicious like a reverse split. What is the share count? All right, we've got 500 million outstanding. Wow. All right, remember what I was saying with that last stock. If there's a reverse split, the insiders are affected as well. They own preferred stock, they have warrants, but they also have everyday normal stock like me and you. Did you see how many they own here? There are a total of 5 million outstanding. The insiders have 463 million of them. We get only 38 million. This is real top heavy. I have seen this before in dangerous ways where companies would have so much of the shares that they could put out false news, stimulate the price to run, and then sell their stock and make money. That's called a pump and dump. So you always watch for that if you see telltale signs. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but they could because they're in a perfect position for it. But if they did a reverse split, say it was a 1 in 20, well, we're going to lose 19 out of 20 shares. So are they. So they're not going to do a reverse split if it's going to hurt them. They're only going to do it when it benefits them. And hopefully that would benefit us as well. Market cap for the company is at 10.5 million. Relative volume today. Oh, wow. She isn't trading a whole lot. We had 43,000 shares as an average over the last 30 days. Today, she did less than half of that, about 20,000 shares. Let's see what we got for financials. Woo. Well, now that's interesting, isn't it? She has been climbing and making some big jumps, leaps and bounds from 288,000, tripling that the next year, doubling that in 2021. And then, oh my God, what is that? 15 times, 14 times, going from 1.4 million to 21.5 million. And they get to keep every single penny. They don't have to give any of that away for materials or expenses. Looking at the quarterlies, well, a year ago, they were doing real good, 8.5 million, doing about 6 million here for the last 3 quarters, and they're starting to climb now at 6.7 million. Again, all profit. Gotta love that sort of business. Balance sheet for the company. They got about $500,000 in the bank, 14 million in assets. Which is greater? 14.3 million in liabilities. So we are just squeaking under the black line into the red. We are holding deficit of $80,000, which means there's no real value on the stock unless you find value in other ways, potential, extrinsic. There's other ways to consider a stock valuable. So this company I didn't mention, or did I? Well, they've got all their verified information over here, and they do want to uplist. I do think we covered everything. Taylor, did I cover? Oh, she's not here. Always need a woman to keep me straight. No, we didn't cover this. I can tell you right now, these have to do with stock. All right, regulation offering statement. Okay, I don't know what's been complete. Normally, when the shares are about ready to go on the market, you see a effect. That's what it is. It's just called effect. That says qualify. It would say effect, which is the gun being shot off and the shares are on the market. So I believe that's all I had to share with you. Did we look at the news? Did we look at the news? No, we didn't. We looked at the news that just came out, and all the other news is old, but it isn't really old. I mean, it's just older. Let's see here. Petroleum engineers, regional manager. They're bringing in some new management. Signing letter of intent. No, that reverse merger is the deal right now. And the thing is that I don't believe when I was looking over here that I seen any date. Let me see here. Bear with me. The date's important. I don't think. There we go. How about that? To close in the first calendar year of 2024. Ooh, that's right now, folks. March is the last month for Q1 of 2024. So it should happen in the next 3 weeks, right? Now let's go take a look at that chart. AEPT. Right there. Let me grab a drink here. I'm getting a bit parched, don't you know? Slowing down. I need some nicotine. Could use a few other additives, but we'll wait for that. All right. Let's see. AEPT. You didn't get it. AEPT. There we go. Looking at our 4-hour chart. Looks like we're in a downtrend on this one. All right, so we got a high here of 10 cents. That hit in December. We got a low of 1.5 cents. That hit at the end of February. What I do see here is we got a brand new 200-day SMA, which has come on the board, but it's been there a long time. Normally, when you see a fresh SMA come on the board, the price gravitates to it. In most cases, doesn't matter if it's above it or below it. The price goes to it. Doesn't always stay there, but it at least touches it. This hasn't done that, and it's been there a long time, so I wouldn't think about that. We had a nice pop here. We've got a couple big bounces. She went from 3.5 cents up to 10 cents. You're looking at a 300% run right there, and that one, that's just about 300% there too. So she does have big pops when volume comes into the picture. We see that correlation here. So after hitting this low bubble, she's been trying to push up, but she's really just going sideways, tagging through that 50-day SMA, but not showing a whole lot of strength. Our oscillators, our PPO is trying to climb right now, as is our MACD. She's bouncing off that and pushing towards her signal line, and our RSI is trying to push up right now. So she's not falling. She's, trying. She's been going sideways for a while. Sideways with a bit of a dip, which you can see very clearly here. She is coming up to this 50-day SMA. She hit it with a high here of 3.5 cents. There's our low. And what are we bouncing up to here? We're right back up to that same high. You can see we've tagged it here. We got close here. So she's showing signs of coming back to a high in the short term. So she is trying to push up. Oscillators say we have some energy on the board. Our PPO is climbing. We've had a crossover on our MACD. We do have a green line, and our RSI is climbing. Volume is really light. We need some volume. That's going to make a huge difference here. Whew. Yeah, not a lot of trading going on here, folks. I'm on the 5-minute chart. Each one of these bars is 5 minutes. Each one of these lines is a day. There was 5 minutes of trading at most. So we were on a downtrend this week with 5 minutes of trading on each day, hitting that low of 1.8 cents, and then boom, bouncing all the way up here to 0.34. That's almost 100%. I guess that'd be closer to 80%. I'd like to tell you she looks like she's climbing. Well, I will. She looks like she's climbing. Oscillators are pushing up right now. There's not a lot of volume. There's not a lot of trading, as you saw. And that's the big thing here. You could get in at a great price and she could be climbing. But with the way she's moving, it could be a long, slow ride. She may start going in the right direction. She may get the piece of news to come out that says how much money this new company is going to be bringing in or something. There was some information that was lagging there. And with the reverse merger, you're going to have changes. So I would expect some news to come around, and the merger is going to put her on the NASDAQ, which is going to put her in front of an entirely different crowd of investors. And up there, not only do they have money, there's a lot more of them. There's a lot more volume on the NASDAQ. And that's what this company needs right now, is volume. So just getting up on the NASDAQ is going to make a change. So if you like where the price is sitting, she's pretty bloody cheap right now. Let's look at the 1 year. She's at a 52-week low. How about 3 years? No, we're not at a 3-year low, but we are bloody close. 3-year low is 0.03. We are here at no, we're not that low. We're only at 1.6. So she is going sideways right now on top of that 200-day haul. and I don't think she'll come underneath it. I think she is starting to push up right now. She needs to be watched. This reverse merger could make all the difference. Where are we at? 454. Ain't no car named that. All right, we have got OPTI. OPTI came in to me from Mr. T. Rick. Hello, T. Rick. Let me get that comment up there. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is OPTEC International, ticker OPTI. She finished the day at 0024. She was up 20%. Ooh, we got a pink limited here. Pink limited is red. That's bad. Pink limited means that they're late on one or more of their financial filings. That's it. It's nothing more than that. If they get them caught up, bing, they go back to pink and everything's hunky-dory. If they don't get it done in time, they get a fair warning. It is called a grace period. They get a 15-day countdown. If they don't get it done in that countdown, you're out of here. They throw you down onto the expert market. Not a delisting, it's a timeout, a penalty box. And if you're in the company when they go to the penalty box, you're penalized as well. You can sell your shares when you're down there, but you can't buy them. And normally when stocks go on the expert market, the price drops severely. I mean severely. The price could be 2 cents, and then all of a sudden it's got 4 zeros in front of a 1 down there. But when it comes back on the market, it has to come back on at 0001 at least. And a lot of stocks, when they come back off the open market, the expert market, that's where they come on, 0001. And it can jump back to its normal price of 2 cents, just like that. And that is a huge gain. I think that is like 200,000%. And the reason I say that is you can see a video I put out about 2 years ago. I called a 17,000% gain the day before it happened. Because it was on the expert market, they just had all their filings in. I said, well, if it comes in here and it goes to there, that's 17,000. Sounds stupid to say, doesn't it? Would you believe the next day it went to 86,000%? Yes, sir. I made a big wave that day. Never been able to duplicate it. So what does OPTEC do? OPTEC International is a worldwide provider of green technologies. The company holds the worldwide license for marketing and distribution of OPTEC Fuel Maximizer products. The OPTEC Fuel Maximizer is a patented plug-and-play aftermarket product for your car. It improves the overall combustion process, enables a modern combustion engine to substantially reduce unburned hydrocarbons and harmful emissions while simultaneously increasing engine performance and fuel economy. That is a dream product 10 years ago. We're phasing out of that right now. And that may have been when they had the product. I have no idea. I haven't done a deep dive on this. Says they've also recently expanded into personal protection. During COVID, everybody was selling ultraviolet lights, rubber gloves, masks, all that stuff. And they may not have updated this. So they may actually be doing something different right now. So the information I have found on this company, we've got news that starts here, April of 2023. And they're talking about their fuel maximizer back there. Okay. Their most recent piece of news, all right. RB Capital Partners officially moves forward with appointment of receiver for OPTEC International. What we've got here, folks, is an angry investor, the number one investor of the company. And he's taking action for the company, but he's moving against the existing management. He's pulling a coup here. He's bringing in new management. RB Capital's, a judgment creditor against OPTEC International, announces it has engaged Mark Basil of the Basil Law Firm to work with the courts to officially appoint a receiver to run OPTEC in the interim while a new company is merged with the public vehicle being this company. The largest investor and legitimate shareholder of OPTEC International, RB Capital, was forced to bring a shareholder derivative action against OPTEC. The next step of this process is to officially appoint a receiver. A receiver is a mediary, somebody who's not got any investment in the company, but gets full charge of the company. And the courts hold them responsible for everything that the company goes through. And they're here to make sure everything good happens to the company. Appoint a receiver so the new management can obtain control of OPTI, the public vehicle, and ultimately access to the OTC markets. Brett Rosen, the managing partner for RB Capital, states, "We are working very diligently with all parties involved to get this matter resolved as fast as possible so OPTI can begin the next chapter of the company's story." Now, there's more due diligence that is absolutely necessary here. You may find articles, you may find other things out there on Google about this. I don't know the history. I don't know what's going on. The things I was reading, the last CEO did something, screwed over the shareholders, and I don't know if they have a CEO right now or what, because they're looking for a receiver to step in during the interim, meaning the transitional period here, and he is booting out the old management and bringing in new management for a new company to take over. Call it a hostile takeover, call it a merger, call it whatever you want. Things are changing, but I don't have a clue about what this new company is doing. I don't know what their job is, their products. I don't know anything about it because we haven't got a lot of information. Let's see. Is there anything over here? Nothing since 2020. No filings. Our financials, right, we're limited. So this is a matter. I'm glad we remembered this. Our last one came out. This is when they actually publish them, and this is the period they publish it for. Well, the last one they published, no, that can't be right. Back up. I see I turned the numbers around there. There, June of last year. So we don't have one for September, and now we need one for December. Plus, you need an annual. That's 3 of them. And because they are on the pink, the OTC, they're also going to need, I don't see any of them here. They're going to need an attorney letter. Since they don't have a CPA look at them, they have to have somebody who's accredited with some sort of power look at them. So they have a lawyer who looks at the information, not the numbers, the information. Once you get the attorney letter, it's good. So we're missing 3 of them. Now, unlike the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, which has deadlines, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you never know with the OTC. You just never know, but they're in hot water. There is no doubt about that. They're pink limited. We should be watching for grace period to show up in yellow here. If you don't see anything show up, grace period will show up here. Then come over here to quote, because they won't tell you the date. Come over here to quote, scroll down to proprietary quote eligibility. It'll be right up under here. PQE reason right there, and it'll show you the date, the actual day it's going to be pulled off the market. In case you want to get your stock out before they get yanked off, that's up to you. All right, so that takes care of the disclosure section. What about the relative volume for the company? Click, click. Whew. Big drop, more than 60% fall, going from 76 million shares down to 22 million. Share structure for the company? God. We have 4 3/4 billion shares, and the insiders own about 200 million of those. So we got 4 billion shares in the float. Again, we worry about a reverse split. I worry about them specifically when they start to get close to a penny. Good information here. You're going to get into a company that's got billions of shares getting close to a penny. You think you want to hang on to it for the ride, get over a penny a little. Make sure they're not ready to do a reverse split. How can you know? You're going to have to do some research. Dive into the filings. Just come on over here and go. Filings, not financials. Jump into the disclosures and go through every single 8K. Just keep hitting this more button. They will go all the way back, folks. And one of those 8Ks will have a shareholder meeting. See if they voted a reverse split and approved it. If they approved it, the shareholders, it means shareholders know about it, so they don't have to re-inform us. So you may get into it today. They approved it 8 months ago. A week from now, they do a reverse split because they got close to a penny. And you didn't see no filing. You didn't see no news press. You feel slighted. You didn't do your due diligence. It's up to us, folks. So if I was to get into this company, first thing I do is just start poking these. And they're real easy. Just open them up and inside it'll tell you right there, contacted by the NASDAQ or material agreement or shareholder meeting. So just go through them. That's my biggest concern here is that fact. All right. I think I have covered everything here. Did we cover financials? No, we did not. I don't remember seeing those. Financials are all over the place. 4 years ago, $1 million. A year later, 31 million. Dropping down to 5 and now dropping down to 2. They lost money. They were making money. I don't know what's going on with this company. But here's the bottom line. If they've got a new company coming in, all of this is history, old history. History that really doesn't make any difference. You can see what they've been doing. You can see it's been getting worse, absolutely worse. So whatever the CEO was in charge of, and he is in charge, management steers the boat. You know, he can make or break it. It's up to him what this company does. You can't blame anybody else. And this looks horrific. So we've got new company coming in. I don't think we have to worry about these numbers because there's hope on the horizon. And there's no guarantee that this guy is going to succeed, but I get the feeling he probably will. All right, let's take a look at OPTI now. What are we doing here? 506. My throat's getting hoarse now. Okie dokie. Got up a one-day chart. Okay, we'll start with the one-day, one-year chart. Year ago, we were at a low, 52-week low of 0002. And we hit a high of 0047 February of this year. So, well, that's a big jump. That's about 2,000%. Yeah, 2,000, 2,500% gains right there. But who was holding it all that time? Somebody sold in this midst. We got a good jump here in November. She went from 0004 up to, let's just call it 4 to 18. That is a 400% run, backing down a little bit and then just going sideways, dipped underneath the 50, the crouch before the pounce, just like a cat would do. That's not falling. That is curving. That is dipping down and getting ready to jump. And did it ever. She jumped here from 0012 up to 0047, almost 400% run. That little jump right there was 400. That big jump was 400. They get bigger and bigger the higher you get on the chart. Came right back down to the 50, where she started, where she bounced, where she's sitting. That looks good to me. Volume is pretty strong right now, but it has petered off, but it looks like the buyers should start coming back in. When the buyers come in, volume gets really strong. So I'd be looking for that right now. Let's come on down to that 6-month, 4-hour view. We could have started here. Same exact numbers, flat, 0002, blah, blah, blah. So what are we looking at now? So she came down, as you can see, this is where she bounced on her 50 on the 1-year chart. Here, it looks like she's floating, right? She didn't quite get down to that 200. Looking at the bigger chart, we know why she's floating. She's bouncing off the 200 over there. Nice rip here, coming back down through all of the SMAs, and she is turning around, looking again like she's bouncing on thin air. But we know where she's bouncing off of, so this is looking pretty good. And there's your 200 on your 4-hour chart, climbing uphill. Our other SMAs are a bit wicked. We've got our 20-day coming down, but it needs to come down because it needs to get underneath the 9, but it came down under the 50. So we're going to watch it curve around and come back up over the 50, and that should be helping this price to climb. Oscillators, look, folks, every single one of them is turning right now. Our PPO is a nice bend right there. You can see our MACD is getting ready to do a crossover, and look at our RSI take a bounce. Almost to the floor. Right now, she's at 47. Still a bit cool, but it is going the right direction. 20-day, 1-hour view. She's in a serious downtrend here. She came down for many a day, hitting this low bubble. bounced back up, but actually she continued on her downtrend. And is she there right now? She is. See that? She's bouncing. That's her floor. She hit her floor many, many times. Now she's bouncing off of it. She's come through the 20 and she's working on top of the 50 and the 200 haul. She can get on top of the 200 haul. I'm confident she's going to push hard and fast to and through the 200-day SMA. I have been seeing the 200 haul used as a catapult, a diving board for the price to launch to and through the 200s a lot. So I'm going to watch that right there. Oh, nice setup here. You see this mouth, this bottle opening here? That is a setup on my oscillators that says your price is climbing strong. Whenever you see the PPO going up and the ADX going down, ADX is trend continuation. This straight line tells me that my trend is continuing. When that line changes direction, my trend changes. So while it was in this line here, even though it was going up, she was in a downtrend. She was falling. Every time the trend changes, the line changes. So as long as they're spreading apart, it's climbing. But you know what's super special about that? Either line moves, your climb is stopped. You don't have to watch the chart. You can actually watch your oscillators. When either one of these lines change direction, my climb is stopped. That doesn't mean it's falling, but it isn't climbing anymore. MACD looks good. We got a crossover on our signal line right now. Big green bars in the picture. And our RSI is getting hotter and hotter. We're up to 59 now, and she's still pushing up. 5-day, 5-minute. We got a breakout, atypical breakout, right? 200 and the price both falling. Came down to the floor. 200 got close, bounced, and threw it. And that has dragged all of our SMAs over the 200. Now it should come down and land on her new strong support, not the 200, but maybe the 50 or the 200 haul, and start to climb again. Optimally speaking, she can do anything she wants, but she's in a position to climb. Oscillators, actually, they look like they are trying to push back up. Here we go. PPO and ADX spreading. We got a crossover on our MACD. RSI is pushing up. This is actually looking pretty good, folks. Not bad at all. All right, that is all the stocks that I had set up. And to tell you the honest truth here, folks, I'm going to bounce back over to you. I am losing my voice right now. I see we had a few others come in here. Let's see who else was here. It was Arndt, wasn't it? Chris Arndt, yes. Okay, we can talk about CRCW. I just did a video on them yesterday. CRCW, the crypto company, TCC. They are in the midst of a merger right now. They are expanding. A lot of people think that CRCW works with Bitcoin and that they mine Bitcoin because that's what it says on their description. They haven't updated it. They haven't been doing that in years. They aren't in cryptocurrency. They don't mine Bitcoin. What they do is they teach clients, people about blockchain. That's what they do. And here recently, they just did a deal, a merger with another company that works with fintech. They've got a super app for the unbanked that gives you all sorts of things. The banking, you put your money in, you get a prepaid debit card. You can use it on your phone. You can use it at banks. You can use it anywhere. You can get internet service, telephone service, health insurance. There's just all sorts of things. Why did the price drop today? Well, you know, if we take a look at the chart, and I'll do that for you. Let's take a look at the chart here real quick for CRCW. All right, that is the daily chart, and that's what you're asking. We had some climbing going on because the news came out. Now, we were down here at 0012. That's a great buy price. 0012. She gets up to 002, 0025. You've made 100%, right? So anybody who bought in down here is in serious profits up here at 37. Serious, that's 300%. What I'm saying is profit takers. That's what everybody's doing right now. You want to take your gains before the stock dips. The stock runs for a while, you start to sell. Now, I like to scale out. I was telling you about scaling in. You buy 25% and it may dip, you buy 25% more. Well, when it's climbing, I don't know where the ceiling is, but if I try to look for it to sell everything, I could get trapped in a fast fall. So you don't do that. You don't look for the ceiling. It doesn't exist. So I sell 25% or something, put some of my investment back in my pocket, scratch that itch, feel a little better, take some of the risk off the picture, and now let the rest ride. When it starts getting up higher, I take some more off the table until I have free shares. Now everything I own is free. Well, you want to get crazy with free shares, but take some profit now. Now, when you've got, say, 25%, 10% of your shares left and it's still climbing, go ahead, have some fun. Practice. See if you can find the ceiling. See if you can actually sell it before it crashes. You may find that you're selling as it's coming down and say, I'm glad I was selling on the way up. That was good. So you could have had a lot of people selling right here. And as soon as it started to sell and came through one of these strong SMAs, all the people watching the chart said, oh, she's crashing. And then you have a sell-off. And everybody takes their gains and we look for a bounce. We got it. There was our bounce. Came back up. But people aren't still secure. There's our 50-day SMA, and it didn't break it on the 5-minute chart, which is what most people are watching. Most people use their 5-minute. She did not get over the 5. And why? Probably because of all of these SMAs. The 200 and the 20, they're coming down hard, pushing on her head. Tough to come up when someone's pushing you down underwater. So until she can get on top of any of these, and they've got to come down to her, she's not going to be able to push up to them. So we got to wait for all those SMAs to come down, maybe underneath her, and then she'll grab the current of them coming back up, and they'll all swoop together and start climbing, and we can start this process all over again. But the good news is she is in an uptrend. She did take a dip, but our 200-day SMA, though it came down a little, is not falling. She is still in an uptrend. Oscillators, we got our spread there. That tells me she is starting to climb right now. You can see our MACD is starting to push up. RSI is a bit weak right now, but she shows potential. She shows hope. And there's our 4-hour chart. That's the last bounce she had, hitting 1.8 cents, I think it was. And is that right? No, that's right. 1.8 cents. Wow, that's a nice high. From here, that would be 6. That's like 600% run. That's like a 600. Well, no, not now. No, because we fell. I was looking at the high. 25 up to there. That would give us 5, 10. That's I don't know, folks. It looks like she's set up. That run right there could easily be a pop. Look, she did it before. She was right there and went all the way to 1.8 cents from this 002. 0 to 1 would be 500, another 400. That's 900% run right there. I don't know why I couldn't do that. But she is starting to run. Look at the volume. Volume is very strong right here, right now, stronger than it's ever been. CRCW. It still looks good to me, folks. Still looks good to me. Did I have any other questions over there I can answer? Because we're not going to have time to actually jump into them. Shroom, please address Shroom. Looking to buy TIA. Haven't got time right now. We are at 20 minutes after, and I don't know how much more my voice can take. Chris Ant, now you froze. Froze. Hello, can you see me? I don't know. BBAI do bad. I haven't looked at BBAI since I talked about it the other day. Any news on BBAI earnings call? Ooh, I didn't know they had an earnings call. I need to get in on that. A mercy received. Oh, I don't normally see your name over here. Good to see you. What was it you wanted to see? CXTXF is a stock that could be good. Can you take a look? Folks, we don't have time to take a look, but now you know about it too. So you may want to take a look at this. I am going to look at these, folks. I wish I had more time. I wish my voice was holding out. There's another stock for you being brought to you by Chris Arndt, KPRX. I'm not familiar with that stock either. And Veg Smith was talking about Shroom or Shroom. I don't know how you pronounce that one. SHMN. Thank you, folks. I hope you didn't mind just having me here. I know Taylor is a whole nother flavor, and she likes to talk to you folks. When I do this, I just don't find the time to run over here and give you a lot of comments. And I'm sorry about that, because you are why I do this. And I love talking to you, but I know you're here to get information, not just shoot the bull. So I apologize for that. So we look forward to you coming back, Taylor. All right, folks. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I know you appreciate me, or you wouldn't be here. That's what makes this so much fun. See you next week, folks. I'm going to do it. Hold on.